What's going on, folks? The time has finally come. Maps and Apps from Star Citizen has been released this morning. It's an early look at the changes to Mobiglass and the star map in Star Citizen. I recorded one of these when I hadn't seen this video yet, and unfortunately I had some recording issues, so just full disclosure, I've already watched this, but I want a second look. There's some really interesting information in this. There's some really game-changing stuff. As always, my videos are more about the immersion in the universe, what it changes for the gameplay, and typically the positive stuff with a little bit of the negative. And we're just going to watch this video. I'll pause it at some key points. I'm going to try and keep this one short, and we're going to watch Maps and Apps and see exactly what's changing.
Arrival complete. Welcome.
Old system.
So the Mobiglass is getting a massive visual overhaul for 3.23.
The version everyone's been living with for years is it kind of does the job, but you can see it's dated now.
So the entire Mobiglass is overhauled from what it was before. It's using a new technology that we've built called cards, and we use cards for other UIs throughout the game. For the Mobiglass, it was a big task to convert.
This is so much cleaner looking already. I'm so stoked on this.
Because it has a lot of apps in it as well. So we need to convert all of those apps over to the new tech in order for the entire thing to be able to release.
So in 3.23, we've got a really big improvement to the user experience. So everything's designed to look nicer and feel nicer.
Ready to upgrade.
And sadly, we haven't really had all the time we needed to get all the apps there. So you are going to recognize the VMA and the comms app just as they have always been. But with that package, you're getting all the other apps with a visual update and also functionality updates for some of them.
Slight embellishment on that. So when 3.23 ships, they're telling us we're going to get the all-new Mobiglass experience with the exception of comms and your ship manager. Those are probably two of the bigger ones to redo. They have to redo all kinds of extra pieces for those things, like each bit of your ship being outfitted, different types of comms, different types of invites. So when you get this in 3.23, whether you play PTU or live, you can expect the older system still for a couple of apps in the Mobiglass as they work on kind of fine-tuning the rest of them to roll it out to look the same. But we're getting most of them.
You've got a completely updated home screen, so you can do things like view
That's
your
gorgeous.
ship. You can see your hull.
It's somehow minimal and more informative at the same time. It's better organized, it flows better. You got your reputation, your crime stat level, your notifications, currently tracked missions. I wonder if we'll be able to switch more quickly between missions with this system. Like just kind of click on it, double click it or something. I guess we'll see. Ship data. This one's huge. This one's massive. Like I don't know how we're going to connect to our ship. I guess we'll find out. But seeing your ship details when you're not with your ship is huge. It gives me hope that in the future we're going to get functionality of our ship remotely. Open doors, turn on lights, turn off or turn on shields, deploy armor. I don't know all the different things we could do, but this gives me hope that we're going to get, I mean, right now, 2024, I can turn on my car, turn on my music, all that kind of stuff from my phone. So it makes sense that in this future you'd be able to as well. Security features, unlock your doors, open your hangar bay, whatever it is. This gives me a lot of hope for that. But in general, very clean. It's an improvement.
Health, notifications, kind of the information you really need to see now.
So we're also getting a fully new health app where you can see all the things that's currently affecting your health and all the stats that you would normally see on your HUD.
Over time, we've added all these cool new things that can affect the player. So we're going to have things like radiation. We've got existing stuff like you can break bones. If you heal yourself, you can potentially overdose. You can have drug effects.
Very small thing. This is giving me No Man's Sky vibes. So they're talking about things like radiation and external effects on your character, which is kind of already there, but it's not fleshed out like it's coming or it's going to be in the next patch. That's part of exploration gameplay. That's pretty cool. So knowing what in the environment's affecting you before you even get out of your ship. There's high rads in this area, high radiation. Be careful. Once you're out, it's affecting you. It's lowering. This is going to change medical gameplay, probably in the very near future. Being able to say, I have this effect on me. This is why I'm sick and injured. Please send your Apollo triage with an appropriate team so I don't have to go back to a port to use a medical bed. Immersing yourself in the universe and living out there as if you really live in this universe is, we're getting one step closer with even little things like this, a new medical setup and some of the mapping stuff that's going to come up next year.
All this cool stuff is happening, but it wasn't obvious to the player just walking around what was going on.
Quick thing. This is a distribution center. We're getting a very brief look at one of the distribution center missions here. It's not the key point of this video, but those are coming in 3.23 as well. And it's just a new place to do missions. It's like a super bunker, which is very exciting. Anything new is typically exciting.
On under the hood. So we added this new app where you can track all that stuff.
So the health app is going to be the place to go when, for some reason, you're feeling ill and you just need that extra little bit of information of what do I need to do to take care of myself to get out of this situation. So the contract manager has been in the game for a long time, and it's just grown kind of obvious that it's not doing all the things you need it to.
Very true.
All the functionality is essentially the same internally, but it needed.
This is cleaned up. How much you get paid is right here without having to click on the details. How much time you have left, who it's for, what it's for. I'm not saying this is a massive gameplay change, but quality of life-wise, this looks a lot easier to navigate.
Needed a visual polish, and also the user experience needed bringing up to date. So there's some new features like you can toggle between illegal missions.
Sweet.
You can see what the rewards are going to be ahead of time.
So no more randomly getting attacked by the police, hopefully. It's probably your fault anyway.
Some big improvements coming to the Mobiglass. That's coming in 3.23, but one thing we didn't talk about yet was the star map.
So, really quick, new Mobiglass, new user interface, cleaner navigation, easier to find things. Not massively gameplay changing, but very nice quality of life change to make living in this universe a little bit better. Next is the massive thing, maps. In my opinion, the biggest thing coming to 3.23 is the changes to the star map and the local maps. There's all kinds of big stuff coming. Very exciting patch. Can't wait to make more of these videos. But the star map, we've needed a new star map for years. I think a lot of people would agree with me that it's incredibly exciting. And I just watch.
We've had the original star map in Star Citizen for a long time, so it was overdue for an update.
This is the existing one.
Don't get me wrong, like the old Skylink app,
This is the new one.
did what it should, but I think it has grown a bit obsolete.
No, death to the old star map!
Death to the old star map.
That's harsh.
The original one just showed the stars and planets and so on, but we wanted to expand on that.
So opening up the star map for the first time in 3.24.
Internal mapping. Cities, ships, bases. Most of us have now memorized the insides of stations who currently play the game, but new places, new star systems, we're not going to have that information. New players are not going to have that information. This is just something that had to happen. Traversing areas, finding things is about to get a lot easier.
You're gonna realize that the star map is not just the star map anymore. It's the everything map.
It's now called Maps app rather than Star Map.
And why did we change it?
Because we now have the interior map, so this shows like your local area, as well as sort of zooming out and showing the star map.
So what is the interior map? It's a bird's eye view of the current environment.
It's a really cool 3D map. So instead of just having a top-down view, this
Just
is
says
showing you the
burritos.
actual level.
And it's presented as a fully schematic 3D view in which you can find every relevant point of interest, such as a shop, transit station, hospital, and the like.
You can get them for ships, for landing zones in 323. In future, we'll expand on that and add it to more areas.
And if you're not familiar with the location you just arrived to, or you're a new player and you're not familiar with any of them, actually having the spatial awareness of where the things that are relevant to you are is going to provide a giant step up in terms of the experience of the game in general.
As it's fully 3D, you can move around, navigate between floors, zoom in and out, and so on, as you'd expect.
We will see to the low.
Tiny thing worth calling out here. This view here over this player's shoulder of the map is accurate. What I mean by that is everything in Star Citizen, if you ever asked why is this taking so long, I've seen X game, Y game that does something similar. Little things like this are what start to set it apart. If this player was looking at their bank balance, their missions, their comms, whatever it is, if you look over their shoulder, it is actually there. It's physicalized. This Mobiglass is popping up. You could actually read what's on their display. If that's not resonating with you, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, because it's not like you're just looking at your start screen or your pause screen. You're actually looking at this. And so you could walk past a player and go, oh, this guy's trying to find his way to the gun store. Oh, hey, man, I see you're looking for the gun store. Are you new? Oh, cool, cool. You know what? Save your money. I got a couple extra guns on my ship. Why don't you come down and help me with this mission, and I'll give you a couple free guns. Sure, you're looking over his shoulder. It's not, considering their privacy, but it's also a video game. And the fact that you can do that is incredibly technologically impressive.
Local area where you're walking around, something you've never been able to do before. Essentially, you'll be able to navigate between all the different rooms and different important areas of the game.
It also offers a way to overlay your own data onto it that is specific to you. So, for example, the location of your mission objective.
That's huge. We need this for a long time.
Custom markers.
Custom markers. This is way bigger than you think it is. Being able to set a marker and say, great, this is where I hid this. Cool, that's great. Think about these usage cases that they're not showing us here yet. 1, marking something and then sharing it with guys in your org or your party. Hey, this is where I hid this stash. Finding minables or salvage, creating a marker and sharing it or selling it creates exploration and data gameplay overnight. Being able to create markers or have permanent markers for your vessels. Hypothetical situation, you're flying in the Carrack, your crew's offline, you're alone. You decide you want to leave in the Pisces and go explore a small landing zone. You leave your Carrack in the middle of nowhere and you fly out in the Pisces. Currently, there is no organic way to find your way back. You can park it somewhere that's easy to find, like an ohm point or a ground base, which means anybody can find it. You can do a box mission and use the box to kind of create a hacky little beacon or a death marker and use that to find your way back. However, there's no way to jump back to half of those examples I just gave. You have to fly back. It's not ideal. If motherships start being equipped automatically with a beacon, or you can just set a beacon yourself, you could start having actual capital ship gameplay where you leave your ship in something smaller and come back. Snub ship gameplay. That's huge. And then the ability to share that location. Oh, hey, I just left in my Pisces. I saw you logged in. I'm going to toss you the coordinates for the Carrack. Go grab it and meet me. This is really, really big. I don't know if we're going to get all of that in 323, but this means the technology for it now exists in the game. It's just a matter of time.
You can also use it to plot a route to another location on the map. Drop a marker and navigate to it, so we'll see a line on the map that shows you where you can actually go and where the easiest way to get there.
So on that map, you'll be able to just click any room you want to go to. You can go between the different zones of the area, and you can place a little marker and route all the way there.
So navigating is one of the primary use cases we want to make as robust as we can for 323. And so part of that involves providing a variety of fallback cases in order to help you best understand how to get somewhere. So for instance, if we ask the AI system and it can't return you a path via its nav links and nav meshes, we can ask the transit system. And if the transit system says there's a connection between the two zones, then that would help you route.
So
I foresee this being fairly buggy when it first comes out, and I don't mean that negatively. Most AAA titles I've played have had mapping issues. Assassin's Creed escort quests were notorious for having route mapping issues. Games like Destiny or Jedi Fallen Order, sometimes they would say, you know, go this way, here's your route, and it would end in a dead end or a thing you couldn't jump across because it was assuming you had abilities in the game you didn't have yet. So they're common. And in a game like this that's massively multiplayer online, physicalized, transit systems, I would give them some grace for a while as they work this out. It's a great thing to add. I know a lot of other titles have things like this, but this is a very complicated game to add this to. But I'm excited that it's coming.
at the time of recording, we're having issues loading all the different OCs that's in a big landing zone, for example. So we're looking.
Can we just call out how great it is that they're saying we're having issues? Like, hey guys, here's this cool new feature coming, but there's some issues with it and we're working on it. Coming from playing Elite Dangerous for years, CIG are so much more communicative, and it's greatly appreciated from most of the community.
Looking into these solutions to make sure that you can track from one part to a fully different part of the area.
So Star Map. Star Map is vastly improved. The main thing we wanted to change was make it a nice user experience. So
yes, please.
Everything in there has been overhauled.
When you open your map, you'll first of all be confronted with your local area.
Reclaimer.
So you'll see what room you're in and what's...
This is a ship map. If you don't know the inner workings, or if you're in a derelict one, or if it's a new ship, thinking the Idris. The Idris is kind of hard to navigate inside. This is a really cool addition. The star map's more important to me, but this is very cool.
close to you. But you can also zoom out and you will see the universe open up in front of you as you zoom out.
From here we can see the entire verse.
It looks perfect.
We can see all the planets.
Space stations, Lagrange points, all of that good stuff. You can then...
I wonder if as they add more star systems, you'll be able to zoom out further and see the local star systems, like a galaxy view or a local network view. So you just keep zooming from this, and then you see Pyro, and then you see Nyx, and then you see Magnus. I don't know, but it seems like a natural progression to me. And it looks very well designed, very smooth. I'm hoping it works this well in live.
And click on any of those markers and you will be automatically panned and zoomed into them so you can...
This is big too. Some stations don't sell weapons and armor. Some stations don't sell ship parts. Some stations you might have low reputation at, and maybe you can't go there when the new reputation system comes in. This is standard in most space games. Elite, No Man's Sky, Eve, they all had things like this, telling you what's there, whether you can go there or not, what you can expect there, little description. This is... I see a lot of comments from people in, say, Discord or Spectrum saying, well, why doesn't Star Citizen have this? Other games have this. This is no better than the one that was in Elite. This is no better than the one that was in Eve. The difference is this is a game where everything's physicalized and being built on a brand new engine. And so they're having to custom build all of this. I'm not a developer, but my understanding is it's much more difficult to build in a setting like this than other games we've played in the past. So the fact that they're finally pulling this off, that they're bringing these Squadron 42 teams over to kind of implement this in the PU, I think this game is going to feel completely different than it ever has before in a few months. And one of the big things that's going to drive that is the new star map.
You can see a little bit more detail about them. If you've zoomed in on a planet, for example, you can zoom in a little bit more and you can start to see the surface locations. So you can see towns, outposts.
You get all the information you need about them. We're adding this new system where you can see all the amenities that are available
Search
at these
bar.
locations.
So for outposts, landing zones, and stations, there will be a section here for amenities, which will show you things like whether you can buy weapons here, whether you can buy ships here,
Perfect.
whether there's a food court, whether there's a hospital or a clinic, All of these sorts of things you'll be able to see on those box outs, so you'll know which is the most appropriate location to go to. We showed in CitizenCon, obviously, that these display much better now, so you'll see them rotate with the map, and if they've gone behind the planet, they fade out, and if they're in front of your view, they're brighter, so you can see them more easily. So
Beautiful.
At the moment, if you zoom in, it will eventually get too big and you'll go through, but I am currently working on it so that it will zoom in to the surface and you'll never actually sort of clip through the planet.
And generally, we've tried to make it feel like a much more pleasant user experience, so there's things like items don't disappear off the back of the map anymore, everything's easy to read.
So as always, the star map is what you're going to want to use to route your way through the verse.
You can still set routes as you could in the previous version, but there is a little bit more feedback if there is a problem and you can't set a route, whether you don't have enough fuel or whether it's obstructed.
For those of you who currently play Star Citizen actively, you will know why this is so important. For those of you who don't, or who are considering getting the game, the star map right now gives you almost no feedback. Your friend says, hey, I'm under attack, I'm at this base, I'm nearby. You go to the map, you can't zoom in on it enough, you can't find it to lock onto it. You finally do find it to lock onto it, you try to plot a course, it won't let you. It gives you no feedback, you just click it and nothing happens. So you start your quantum drive and start rotating your ship manually to just try to point your nose at it and jump just randomly. You can't find it, or it's obstructed by your party member's jump point. There are so many things wrong with it. Even just telling you what's wrong. You try to plot it and it says, can't, atmosphere. Can't, obstructed. Can't, whatever it is. More feedback is all we need. We don't need it to always let us jump. That doesn't make sense. It needs to tell us why we can't jump. This is huge.
It's going to be so easy. It's going to be so intuitive for you you click the thing, and there you get the button to say set route. It doesn't always just have the ability to set a route, because you can't always set a route. We will let you know when you can set a route.
There are a few things that are new for this new star map that have not been seen in the old star map. The primary one there would be search. So we now have a list of all locations.
Search bar.
So there'll be a little drop down in your top left corner.
Learn how to spell stuff. Learn their actual names. No more not knowing what places are called, because if you know what they're called and you know how to search them and you know their names and their spelling, or even their first few letters, you are going to be able to traverse this game so much better. It's going to blow your mind. We have needed a search bar for the map for, God, how many years? So as long as we've had a map, we've needed a search bar. Not being able to search by name when there's this many planets, and especially once there's more star systems. For those of you who played Elite Dangerous, imagine if you had to just use the galaxy map. If you couldn't just go to the search bar and search, I want to go to Deciate, wherever you were going to go, whatever system, Shinra to Desra. Just those first few letters and being able to hit, plot route, sped up travel by a factor of 10, and now it's finally coming to this game, and it's long overdue.
Corner. If you open that up, you can see the full list of locations ordered by what is closest to you, and then you can also type any location and it will appear. So you could type, for example, L1 and all of the...
This overlay is gorgeous. This augmented reality overview as you're coming in looks really good. Even the font is nice.
Lagrange point ones would appear. So this allows you a lot more flexibility to finding what you're looking for when it's not as sort of, immediately right there when you're at the current view. So you can go all the way across the solar system to look at something completely different.
Star Citizen is a massive systemic game. We've got all this cool stuff going on. We've got multiple players doing things at different times. So we wanted to improve the overall interface from the player to that game world. So a big part of that is the new Mobiglass.
Finally, we've gone to this effort to refactor and do the whole Mobiglass hub from scratch. New maps, new applications, everything is using new tech, and we have a much more flexible and robust system for the Mobiglass under the hood.
When you're playing Star Citizen, it should be a smooth experience. You shouldn't be stuck trying to find whatever it is you need to find at the moment. We're helping you do that with the new apps, making it easier for you to find your missions or to even just find a place in the verse.
Now that we have that framework in place, then it's kind of the sky's the limit in terms of what we can do with it and how many apps we can develop for it. And it's all using new tech, it's clean, it's the way we want it.
The other big new feature is obviously the star map with the brand new interior map as well.
Star Citizen is a game about exploring. It is a game about spacefaring. And even so, even when you're not going around in space, it's still about exploring.
Without the star map, it's really difficult to do that, right? This makes it so much easier to navigate around, to finding what you want and where it is, and how to get there.
Overall, it helps the player.
Something they said there that I can see popping up on Spectrum and Twitter and stuff already was, I forget that developer's name, but the gentleman that was on just before, the last person, talking about how it's a game of exploration. I know that a lot of people think of Star Citizen as a combat game. They do PvP, your ships have guns, there is combat. 100%, I love combat, I love PvP, I do bounty hunting all the time. Good fun, not knocking that. But it is a space game that involves traversal and exploration. And that's the way that I see the game, and I agree with what he said. Even when you're just going to do combat somewhere, knowing which system you're going to, how to find it, where is that hidden spot, how do you map to it, what's the locale like, what's the environment like, all of that is exploration. And so when you're not engaged in heavy PvP, and you're just going to new star systems to find that cave, to find that mission that pays you well so you can afford the ship and the parts that you do PvP with, it is much more of an exploration game than it is a combat game, in my opinion. It is a universe that you live in and explore that includes combat. I know people are going to disagree with that, just the way I see it and just the way I play the game, but I'm glad that somebody on their team said it as well, because I don't always want to do combat. I don't always want to pew at things. Sometimes I want to fly my spaceship and go find what's out there, and that's what I can't wait for in this game.
Interact with the world, get to where they want to, do what they want to do more easily and quickly.
Over.
Definitely.
Oh. Yeah, I agree.
What do we learn?
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Mobiglass is finally converted over to building blocks in the new card system, meaning that Flash, as we know it, has pretty much gone to live on a farm upstate.
Good.
That the conversion sets the stage for the creation of multiple new apps going forward, and that the new internal map and star map have combined to become simply the Map app. Now, of course, remember that all things you see on ISC are a work in progress, and as any player of Evocati or developer alike may tell you, will continue to iterate between when you see it here and its upcoming release in Alpha 3.23. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
Okay. Couple of things and I'll wrap this up. One, new Mobiglass, new layout, new apps, new way of navigating your systems. Great quality of life change. I don't think it'll be massively game changing in the beginning, but it's going to allow them to create and modify things in much more diverse and effective ways in the future. That's always good. New map, new star map, new local map, new ship maps. The biggest change, in my opinion, coming to Star Citizen. I think it is going to absolutely fundamentally change the way that we travel in the game, find things, combined with the new flight model and the new EVA model. I think this game's going to feel very different in a month or so when this comes out. Speculation, but I'm going to guess probably May. We're going to get this. Little things in the map like the search function. The ability to set custom waypoints that I really hope leads towards ship waypoints, shareable waypoints, sellable waypoints, is going to open up exploration and data gameplay probably pretty soon. And then little things we saw in that video. Looks like missions in distribution centers are coming along well. We saw somebody traversing around Pyro. We know Pyro exists. We've been there. At least some of us have been there in tech preview. I think that this is going to be a huge part of bringing you back to this game in 3.23. If you currently play Star Citizen and you've been taking a break because it's been buggy and not the best experience of the past couple patches, this patch is the one to come back. unless there's some kind of massive issues on launch, I think you should come back. If you've never played Star Citizen, there is a link to my Discord in the description of this video. Jump in and ask questions. Ask us whatever you want. We'll give you the no bullshit answer on whether you should play, whether you shouldn't, what it's going to cost you, all that stuff. And if you do sign up, I have a referral code. Everyone who plays the game has a referral code. You use mine, we both get free stuff in the game. That's it. That's my wrap up. I started streaming Star Citizen about 30 days ago. I've been playing for years. I just decided to start streaming. The number of people following, subscribing, watching live on Twitch, joining our Discord, joining our org, all that stuff in 30 days has been phenomenal. So just a big thank you to everyone who is actually watching these and giving me suggestions on my audio and suggestions on my video. And I'm iterating these as I go. And as the response increases, as will the time that I put into these. But for now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the video with me and listening to my opinions on where this game is going, and I will catch you next time in the verse.